Oregon. I didn't know a single person here in Central Oregon, and my business was brand new to the area. So those two factors were very apparent once I moved here that those both needed to change.
Hello, all of you Courage, Confidence, and Connections podcast fans. Welcome back. And this is Janice Debo, your host. And I have a return guest here. This is going to be fun. This is Jakob Harrold. And we're going to be diving into his new venture. This guy, you can't just, he's like a freight train. There's no stopping him. There's no stopping him. But he's the owner and founder, I guess, co-founder of JHB Cleaning. And that we talked about extensively on his prior podcast. But today we're going to explore how he's transitioned into something that's very relevant and right up my alley that has to do with networking. So welcome, Jakob.
Well, thank you so much, Janice, and for the listeners of the Courage, Confidence, and Connections podcast. It's great to be back, and it's great to update you on a lot of things that have happened since our first podcast.
Well, and there has been a lot in your life. Oh my goodness. If it weren't for texting and social media, I don't think I could keep up.
Yeah, I feel you. It is, it's been full of growth and just really trying to keep all thoughts positive, as things are growing fast and sometimes it feels like you're on a bullet train, but
Oh,
let's keep it going.
absolutely. Well, as the founder, co-founder of JHB Cleaning, you were a novice networker. And especially when I met you, you were even more of a novice then when we first talked. And having a lot of experience and done a lot of training in the networking industry, I think our audience should know more about what's going on and how you started to make that transition because you've got a lot of balls in the air, but this one seems really important to what you're doing. So let's go for it.
Let's dive in. Yeah, for some much needed context, I'd moved to Bend about 11 months ago, and I brought my cleaning company JHB Cleaning Services to Bend and Central Oregon. I didn't know a single person here in Central Oregon, and my business was brand new to the area. So those two factors were very apparent once I moved here that those both needed to change. And especially since I had never been to a single networking event when I lived in Portland, but I knew that was a low cost way to meet people and engage in the community, especially somewhere as special as Central Oregon, where there's still that hometown feel, small town feel. You know, that's a whole different conversation. But um, I had moved here with just my cleaning supplies and knew that that needed to change fast. So I really, without much thought, because I knew the more I thought about it, the more nervous I would get, the more excuses I would make, and the less events I would go to.
Yeah.
I started signing myself up for as many free and, low cost networking events that I could go to, whether if they were bright and early in the morning or networking at night events or even just little coffee socials. My goal was to just jump in with both feet, for lack of better terms. And through, that compounding effect of continuing to do that for the last 11 months, JHB Cleaning Services was just awarded best cleaning company in at least Bend through one of the award kind of I guess awarding kind of Central Oregon platforms, I guess. Uh, and that's where we are now.
Congratulations on that. That's significant, especially since I know there are quite a few other companies in the area and you have an excellent reputation, but you started out of the gate pretty hot and heavy on meeting people. And I have to applaud you for that. Having coached people on how to network and communicate, I can say that you have to rip off the Band-Aid. You have to. If you don't, you're not going to get anywhere. I would literally take people to networking events and point to somebody in a corner and say, now go talk to that person. And by myself, no, I can't do that. And I'm like, okay, you told me you're paying me to teach you, so I'm going to make you very uncomfortable, I'll guarantee it.
Yeah, right. And it's luckily, I'm thankful that it was a an opportunity that after the first few Band-Aid rips of going to somewhere that I don't know anyone and I'm a new business owner, getting those repetitions in uh, very quickly, I was able to one start going to more and but started to enjoy it. And really, once you get that reward feedback of even just making a personal connection, but then once you start diving into, wow, this
Yeah,
person I met referred me 5 cleans in the past 2 months, and you start seeing the actual metrics of, what those hard conversations are, or those ripping the band-aids off. You see all that effort kind of return.
absolutely. It does pay off. And it's not just about that first connection, but it's about the what that person who that person knows, and then maybe down the line, maybe it could be three or four down the line, you're gonna get to meet more and more people and get more and more referrals. And just simply by doing a good job with your crew and that type of thing, and they help get the word out also.
Right.
So, what is this new venture that has got you all lit up? Because I know I'm going to wind up being a part of it.
Yes, I sure hope so. So the current name of the project is the Bend Signal, and we can dive into there's but yeah, for now it's called the Bend Signal. And the I guess I'll explain it as a story because I think it helps my brain process it a little bit better as
Yeah.
it's still a newer project,
Mhm.
but the idea just feels right.
Okay.
So as we had just mentioned, I spent probably anywhere from 3 to 5 nights a week, or 3 to 5 events a week I was going to, and that adds up. And luckily, I'm thankful I don't have too many other responsibilities than my business. So as I was able to make that time to go network. And the question that I asked myself is, well, what if I could hire someone to go network 24/7 for me? And that's one, that would cost a lot of money to hire someone to go be your personal networker. Two, how does that person accurately network for you? They're not you. How do they know exactly what you're thinking or what you're feeling or what connections you want without, a lengthy interview process and getting to know someone? So those two questions I kept asking myself, well, you know, what could we, how can we use today's new technologies to network more, especially with those first introductions or those first Band-Aid rips that sometimes people can't do more than 2 of those a week without their social battery being drained, and then they're not as charismatic as they once were, or they don't have the time or the just mental energy to be their true selves to these prospects. So I started diving into one of my side passions, which is artificial intelligence, and really seeing how could this new technology work coincide with such an old-fashioned technique of
Mhm.
face-to-face networking.
Exactly.
And with that, the Bend signal was born, where basically, here, sorry, I wrote down a little just what the experience would be for someone joining the Bend signal.
Yeah.
Um, so step one is you basically fill out a quick onboarding form where you would tell basically for now it's a Google form, but we aim to make it a little bit more seamless. But you tell yourself, what are my goals when it comes to meeting people personally, professionally, for a passion, or
Mhm.
even just for a fun weekend trip. Really, what am I looking for? And also, you'll be asked, what can I offer? I'm not just a cleaning business owner. I'm also a great friend. I'm an outdoor enthusiast.
Mhm.
I'm a great supporter of many things. And if someone just said, "Oh, he's just a cleaning business owner," that would not even scrape the surface.
Yeah,
So really, and just like many people, it's very easy to focus on just your title and not who you are underneath it.
that's
And
right.
so my goal is to find much more on what who people are, not just what their title is.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, which I'm sure you can attest how important it is to, or how important that is to build deep connections, not just handing each other business cards and calling it good, calling that a connection.
I, I got to speak up about the business card thing because I used to go to so many. You have no idea, Jacob. I literally bought, this is hilarious, a little miniature file cabinet, like 4 drawers
Mm,
for my business cards. And I'm down to like one folder that hardly has any in it anymore. When I started going through, I'm like, who is this? And why did I even get their card? uh it becomes like what is that? There's a card game when you just 52 pickup. It was more like 5200 pickup. And
right. Yeah, I feel you as I have, just business cards on business cards from people that I go to networking events
Mhm.
and, it's a great way to quickly transfer contact information. But
Yes.
they also, besides that, it stays pretty surface level if you allow it to.
Yeah, it does. And getting to know people does require more time and energy. So I'm curious about how you came up with the name the Bend Signal.
Well, at first, I guess that's almost something to do with the expansion plans as well. But um, the goal would for every town or every city to have their own, signal in a way. It would almost be a connective tissue just throughout a town that allows people to connect with one another in such a simple way. And to me, that just felt like a signal. It's something that you can't see, you
Right.
can't necessarily feel it, but it's everywhere, and it's a part of a town.
Exactly.
And that's really what the goal was. Is it's not an app, it's not. There's no scrolling, and so I guess that's something I should continue to elaborate. Is I guess the process.
Hmm.
So you're on. So back to the onboarding.
Yeah,
You complete
absolutely.
you complete your onboarding, and at that point, your own personal AI agent. So my names would be Jakob Harrold. It's my own trustworthy and individual AI assistant to myself. Janice, you would have your own that knows exactly everything about you or everything that you want it to know about you. And these agents is the name, would then go out during the day while we're working and we're actually, moving along our businesses and we're doing things that are fundamental to keeping a business going.
Mhm.
But meanwhile, our agents, which are inherently ourselves, are going around the Bend signal, talking to one another and networking throughout the day. And granted, this is still a growing project, so won't dive too deep into like the technology part of it. But you would have your own networking assistant talk to upwards of 10 to 20 people a day. Granted, it depends on how many users we have. But the goal is at every day or at the end of every day, your AI agent would simply email you and
Oh,
say, hey,
nice.
I had conversations with these 5 people, and I recommend that you reach out to this one individual. Here's their contact information. That's it. So it's
Question about because you're going to want to expand beyond Bend. For myself, I can work virtually, literally anywhere in the world, in the country, especially. And how can you facilitate that for someone like myself that wants to be international? I am international, but national especially.
right. Yeah. So this is a very small application of what I know will be a global infrastructure. And, I'm not
Okay.
looking that far yet.
That's huge. That's really
Yeah,
huge.
it is huge, and that, would be, that's a fun thought experiment to think about on how to connect people that would have no other ways of connecting. Of course, social media and LinkedIn and all those places are good, but there's a lot of filler, there's a lot of noise. It's, a lot of doom scrolling and performative posts when in reality, people that don't have a lot of time, they just want to voice their desires and feel seen enough that someone with similar desires or aspirations could be connected to them.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it's really fun when I think about just the opportunities. This isn't just as obviously as someone that's a business owner that excites me on that front, but this is by no means meant just as a business platform or business, idea.
Right.
I want to get into the nitty gritty of, artists are looking for people to collaborate with. A local DJ connects with a venue. Uh, a stay-at-home mom finds other friends that that are other moms that, don't know any better on how to connect. Especially with how many remote workers are in this area. We have like one of the largest populations, like percentage populations that's remote workers,
Mhm.
including yours truly.
Yep.
Uh, and and when you're not seeing new people every day, unless you're forcing yourself to, it's really easy not to connect in a way that I think everyone should be.
Mhm. I kind of get this image of Bend being like this one little dot with all these things going out. And then you got Redmond, you got there, everybody's dots are out there, but then they start connecting with each other. So I can see where, you can expand that depending on, I'm sure it's taking a lot of sophisticated training and programming. So is
Most
this
def, yeah.
is this something you stepped into by yourself, or are you in partnership with someone who's the AI brains? I mean, brain. Not that you don't know, because I don't know how much you know, but
Right. I was definitely inspired from a few online personalities. I guess yeah, online developers that have been building AI products online. I don't inherently have a partner for the bend signal, but I was definitely heavily inspired by
okay.
um, a few builders that are trying to do similar things on the bigger scale. And I realized, you know, just for, as much as it can be used for a mass global connection, I wonder what it could do for a town or multiple
Yeah,
towns
yeah.
and the power that it can have to connect people that live right down the road from each other, but have never known that they both love, floating on the river every other Wednesday and, like spicy food and both, work at startup companies,
Mhm.
but they never knew.
Right.
Um, and that's, that power of networking, but not just for business.
Yeah, remind me off camera because I've got a couple suggestions for you for potential angel investors to look into.
Roger
And,
that. Yeah,
yeah, and I know that would be very beneficial. I just don't want to make any announcements with on
of
camera.
course. then everyone would be contacting them.
Right,
But
right.
yeah, with when it comes to, granted, step one is making executing this at a one location at a time.
Mhm.
The goal would most definitely be to find or open up markets for every town, every city that has that same feeling of, well, we kind of, we have a small town feel, but it's growing so fast. How can I get that small town feel
Yeah,
with using the technology of today? And especially I see this being a huge benefit for people that just moved here, as well as people that are kind of still transitioning out of this, the post-COVID shock of forgetting how to communicate with people.
exactly. Exactly. I was
Uh,
I was interviewed recently on a podcast and asked the very question about how AI, because with my networking background, how AI, how do we maintain our humanity with all the AI stuff going on out there? And I think if there's a way to put in this kind of a thing, the more personal information, the better, and let people connect nationwide, locally, or whatever. The human touch is vital. And speaking from one who's worked from home for a very long time, I don't I don't see a lot of people. I really don't. I mean, other than on camera, obviously. And it's true. You can start to be very isolated and wonder, oh my goodness, have I become a hermit?
right. Unintentionally, like that's,
Unintentionally. Yeah,
we're just working hard, and it just so happens that, where we work is also where we sleep and eat.
exactly.
And all it takes is a few busy days where you don't leave the office, aka your home, and that's that. Then you'll get used to it, and then it's, oh, I maybe just one networking event every other week.
Yeah.
I get comfy at home and wanting, that's the hardest part about, for me, my reference is running. I'm a big runner. The
Oh, yeah.
hardest part is putting on your shoes and taking that first step. The hardest part about networking is that first handshake of, I don't know anyone here and I have to break the silence, or, just getting to a networking event is hard.
Yeah.
So to,
Sometimes it's extremely hard, and even though I don't have trouble meeting people or doing that kind of thing, it's still, oh, I got to get up. I got to get dressed. I've got to, the women, we got to do the hair and the makeup and all that.
right. Me as well. I have to do my hair. It just takes a little quicker. But that's the thing, is that first step is, if we can eliminate that, but then build up the back end of still trying to create human first connections,
Yeah,
in-person connections, and with people that you already know somewhat align with you. Um, I feel like that would empower so many more people to want to go get that coffee with someone or go meet someone when you already know at least your values or your desires are in some of a same level.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's a little more comfortable. It really is. If you've had some conversation, you've gotten to know a little bit about them, and it's easier to, it's not as much of an icebreaker. It's you've warmed
right,
that relationship up. And granted, I mean, I've got a lot of people I'm really close to across the country that I probably will never, if I have met them, I may never see them again. One,
right,
and I talked with a friend of mine recently who is not in this area, and he said, he feels like we communicate better on the phone than we even do on Zoom because we're distracted by the camera. And he's a big IT guy, so he's very familiar with all of this stuff. And he said, well, it is. I mean, you feel closer to someone when you're not, even though you're talking to them on camera, it is a distraction. And this sounds like something that could really benefit people to, hey, pick up the phone. I met you on Ben Signal. Can we chat on the phone and see if we want to get together and
Right.
and not make it a dating app thing?
Right.
I,
Yeah, that's not in the plan. That's not in
good.
the build timeline in any way. But I think that's also the fun part is really wanting this to be community driven and
Mhm,
hear what people are asking for. And I think that will be it'll be known through how these agents interact with one another and what people are really looking for.
mhm.
Because, I mean, yeah, you just have basically everyone's a little networker running around, and you'll get to find out really quickly what are people really looking for.
So I,
And
so I
yeah,
really will have a mini me.
fine. Yeah, there we go. Probably, yeah, just the same, most charismatic little agent. It's going to be hard to replicate, but you'll we'll make it happen for you. Uh,
I've always wanted a mini me, so there you go.
there you go, and running around all of networking for you, and then that's just ample more opportunities,
So it's a
especially right. Well,
oh, I'm sorry, it's a networking clone, if you will.
right, yeah, and I've been liking the word like community engine. It's not just yeah, it's a way to just build with your community, and that's something that when I moved here was what I romanticized about Central Oregon so much was it's smaller than Portland Metro, feels
Hmm.
more obtainable to actually meet people and wanting to amplify that and really just reduce any of those first hard steps and make Bend and Central Oregon more connected.
I think it's awesome. I like what you're doing, and I'm definitely going to be checking that out. Now, is it too soon for people to go ahead and sign up and at least get the ball rolling?
No, this is actually opportune time,
Okay.
especially right now. It is as I'm building out our AI agents for obviously wanting to push that as and make that the actual product itself.
Hmm.
But as a test run to make sure people actually are wanting this, I'll be I'll be hand matchmaking the first 100 users that we have.
Nice.
So yeah, we're accepting the first 100 users right now,
Okay.
and that will be basically a beta test where I really want feedback and I really want to know what's missing, what needs to get scrapped, and I will hand match all these,
Nice.
our first version of these agents. I'll be the non-romantic Cupid in a way of connecting. And as we build, I'll be able to release the actual agents. And also with the release of the actual agents, we'll be able to have more connections per week. So
Oh,
right now I'm aiming for to to give every person 1 to 2 connections a week. And then as we build up and build the user base, there is no reason why your AI agent couldn't introduce you to someone every single day. So you'd have someone networking for you 7 days a week, looking out for your best interests and helping you connect.
very, very good. Well, we'll have all that information that you'll get to me, and I will get to our listeners or watchers or whatever. And I so appreciate you coming on board. Do you have any final words that you would like to share with our audience before we wrap it up here?
Immensely thankful for the opportunity, immensely thankful for all the ears that are tuning in. And if anyone is interested, I would love to chat, whether that's feedback, criticism, or just wanting to expand the idea. If it resonated with you, you're not alone. And I'm sure there's ample more people just like us that are hungry to connect Bend in a new way with some just fun technology.
Refreshing. It's very refreshing what you're doing. So thank you, Jacob. Thank you for coming on my podcast again. And the timing was perfect with the startup of this, and I'll jump on and be one of the first 100, I hope. Um, and I appreciate so much your desire to connect people because that's my passion.
Well, yeah, well said. And you inspired, you've inspired my desires to connect. So thank you for who you are and the content and the love that you put out to so many people. And I'm glad you're doing what you're doing, and I'm glad I am doing what I'm doing.
Well, thank you. And we will chat off camera, but thank you to our audience that has come back for another episode of Courage, Confidence, Connections podcast. Send the link out. And if you need any help with anything, we're both here. Bye bye, everybody.
All right.